Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our viewers, Sophie Dreamer 44. Thanks for the suggestion, Sophie. You asked, who decides time zones and why are they so weird? Let's face it, time zones are one of those things we all use but rarely stop to think about. Why does one place say it's tomorrow while another is still stuck in yesterday? And why do some places just refuse to follow the rules? Looking at you, Arizona and Nepal. So today, we're untangling the time zone chaos. From how they were invented to who gets to draw those wobbly lines, we're diving into the fascinating and sometimes downright absurd world of time zones right here on Explaining Everything. First, we've got to go back to a simpler time, the 1800s. Or, not that simple because trains were throwing everyone into a scheduling nightmare. Back then, every town basically decided we're just going to go with local solar time, meaning when the sun was directly overhead. That was noon. Seems logical, right? Until trains rolled in and everything got messy. Let's say you were in one town and needed to catch a train to another. Your ticket might say the train leaves at 3:12 p.m., but that's 3:17 p.m. in the next town and 2:59 p.m. in the one before. It was like living in a time travel movie, but without the DeLorean. So the railroads were like, okay, we need to fix this before everyone loses their minds. Enter Sir Sanford Fleming, a Canadian engineer who decided that the world needed a standardized system of time zones. He proposed dividing the Earth into 24 equal sections, each representing 1 hour. Simple, right? Well, not so fast. Here's the thing. There isn't a single time zone overlord deciding all this. Time zones are decided by governments, and they don't always agree. The idea of time zones is based on the prime meridian, the 0-degree longitude line that runs through Greenwich, England. This was decided at the International Meridian Conference in 1884, where 26 countries got together to say, yep, Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, is our baseline. But here's the catch. After that meeting, countries were like, cool, we'll use this system. Mostly. Some places drew time zone boundaries based on convenience rather than longitude. For example, China? It's technically big enough for 5 time zones, but the entire country runs on Beijing time. Imagine living in far western China and having the sun rise at 10 a.m. Breakfast for dinner, anyone? Meanwhile, Nepal was like, we see your hourly increments and raise you 45 minutes. Yep, Nepal time is GMT plus 5:45 because, why not? It's their clock. They can do what they want. Okay, so while we're talking about messing with clocks, let's address the chaos that is Daylight Saving Time, DST. If you're in a country that uses it, you've probably muttered, why are we doing this? At least twice a year. The original idea came from George Hudson, an entomologist in New Zealand who wanted more daylight hours to collect bugs. Yep, bugs. Later, it got adopted during World War I to conserve energy. The logic? More daylight in the evening meant less time with the lights on. But here's the kicker. Studies today show that DST barely saves energy and mostly just messes up your sleep. Plus, not every country does it. Even within the United States, some states, like Arizona, are like, nah, we're good. So, while half the country is groggy and trying to remember how to change their microwave clocks, Arizona's just chilling. If you think time zones are neat and tidy, think again. There are some hilarious quirks out there. For instance, the Pacific island nation of Kiribati decided in 1995 to move its time zone so the entire country could be on the same calendar day. This means parts of Kiribati are literally the first to see the new day. They're living in the future. Then there's the town of Baal, which straddles the border between Belgium and the Netherlands. Its residents live with two different time zones. Sometimes. Because Europe has standardized most time zones, it's less confusing now. But in the past, a restaurant could technically have a different time in the dining room than in the kitchen. Dinner will be ready in 30 minutes here, or 29 minutes over there. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, cool history lesson, but why does any of this matter? Well, time zones are more than just clocks. They're about how we connect. Think about it. Flights, international trade, global business meetings, live streams. It all depends on us knowing what time it is everywhere. Without time zones, it would be chaos. And sure, even with them, it's still a little chaotic. But hey, at least we've got apps for that now. Remember the days of calling someone overseas and awkwardly guessing if they were asleep? Yeah, let's not go back to that. So, who decides time zones? The short answer, governments. The long answer? A mix of history, politics, geography, and occasionally someone just saying, let's make it weird. The next time you complain about setting your clocks forward or trying to figure out if it's Tuesday in Australia yet, just remember, it could be worse. You could be living in the 1800s with 50 different noons. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more fun topics. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about. Here on Explaining Everything.